have fallen into the trap of thinking that when it comes to training, pushing harder at a higher intensity gives you more bang for your buck. If you want to improve, you've got to train hard. Short on time? Just train harder. Do all the high intensity stuff and cut out the rest. Right? Wrong. As many of you will already have realized, that approach will only get you so far. If you keep pushing, you'll end up sore and tired and slow. And that was me. Even after all these years, I fell into that trap again. So a friend very casually suggested that I read up on the work of Dr. Inigo San Millan, who's a specialist in physiology and metabolism in health and disease based at the University of Colorado's Medical School. He is also the coach of Tadej Pogačar and the head of performance at UAE Team Emirates. He believes that the benefits of lower intensity exercise are huge, essential even, not just to performance, but to health and well-being, to life in general, in fact.
Welcome to the Visser Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Richard Visser. I'm a former Minister of Health and Sports with a PhD in medical sciences. I'm a published researcher, and a long time ago, I started my career as a doctor of chiropractic. Together, I want to explore wellness. I want to explore longevity to get you to the best health you've ever known. So join me on this podcast. Welcome to another episode of the Visser Podcast. This is episode 34, and we're going to start moving over the Longevity 9. The Longevity 9, I gave an overview last week on this, episode 33, so go back to that if you need to see that. It's basically the 9 factors that we take from the blue zones, the 5 areas in the world where people live 100 years or over, their lessons, and combine that with the latest research that we have available to us, and it's a lot. And then come up with a way to make you live healthier and longer. Who doesn't want that? All right, so we're going to deep dive in each of the sections of the 9 sections. And the 9 sections are movement, purpose, downshift, 80% rule, 7-hour feeding window, whole foods and protein up, wine, the right tribe, loved ones, belonging. So those are the 9 factors. And those 9 factors actually go into different things in our, and get real specific. What do we do? And so this is your compass. This is your true north. This is what you will use to say, hey, where am I lacking? What do I need to pay attention to? Where do I need to put more effort in my life? And so this Longevity 9 is going to be critical permanently, because it's going to be your true north. It's going to be your gold standard. It's going to be where you look at and figure out how to rebalance yourself, how to recenter yourself, how to get back on purpose. And so we're going to go through each segment specifically, so you can learn how to do each segment and develop on it. So we're going to start with the first segment, which is movement, strength, and VO2 max. Now, why do I start with strength and VO2 max? Strength and VO2 max are the one thing that will improve your chances of living longer, longevity, your quality of life, your health span, more than anything. Okay, listen to me. More than anything that we know currently. There isn't a drug. There isn't a system. There isn't a supplement. There isn't a way of eating. There isn't nothing that will improve your outcomes more than strength and VO2 max. So do you think it's important? Abso-fucking-lutely. So that's why we're going to start with this. So let's start. A new study on oncology JAMA. And this is entry level. All right, so there's no more excuses. There's no more excuses. Entry level. 5 minutes a day of exertion. Could be in your house. Could be like what I showed, right? Doing squats in the garden, doing lunges in the garden, doing, just effort. Get your heart rate up. Boom. 5 minutes a day, every day. You got to be consistent. 30% of reduction in you getting cancer. 10 minutes a day, 50% reduction in you getting cancer. So that's not enough. Okay. That's just your entry level. That's 10 minutes a day, but you got to be consistent every single day. Well, what else do I have to say to convince you? What else is there? There's more. All right. Let's go to the next level. Strength and muscle hypertrophy. Strength is really power that you can exert. Hypertrophy is size of your muscle. Has shown unequivocally to be a determinant of how long you're going to live. More than, and I have to include VO2 max. I'm going to talk about that. More than cancer or end-stage renal disease tells you that you're going to die. It has a heavier impact in the positive direction. Chronic disease, cardiovascular disease, you name it. Cognitive decline, mental issues, you name it. It is massive, all right? And we're defining it. We're going in here and we're going to say, okay, what are the parts that are the most important? What are the golden nuggets? Because same as you, I've seen people in the gym training. Good. They're doing something, right? But they'll train 3 years, 5 years, and there's no difference in their body composition. There's no difference in their endurances. They're not really knowing what to do. We know in the science now what to do. So we're going to explain how you can be more efficiently, in less time, improve better, all this stuff, and what you need to do at any age. All right? So when we look at chronic disease, when we look at obesity, we're looking at too little muscle. We're not necessarily looking at too much fat. We're looking at too little muscle. And the reason I say that is because if we want to get to baseline health, we need to have more muscle mass. And the reason for that is simple. When we eat carbohydrates, all right, they come into the bloodstreams, and carbohydrates, any carbohydrates, bread, rice, those are the bad ones. Vegetables, and legumes and beans and stuff, those are good ones. Why? Because they're attached, they're attached to fiber, and fiber is critical for us. All right, but we're going to go into the nutrition at another episode. We're here really to look at what we need to do to improve our health, to live longer with exercise, and why exercise is the number one. There's nothing else. You can take any vitamin you want. You can take any supplement you want. You can fine-tune your nutrition to the nth degree. You can do all this stuff. It's going to add this much. Strength, muscle mass, huge. No comparison. So you need to start here. This is your start. If you don't do anything else, do this. Listen to me. If you don't do anything else, do this. All right. The danger with our baseline health is insulin resistance. That's the danger. If we go to insulin resistance, our body breaks down. We can't do anything anymore. After that, it's diabetes. We can't process our foods. We can't build, everything starts breaking down and we start going to disease mode. Insulin resistance is something that a lot of us are almost there. And it's because of this. Our muscle, there's two places where we kind of absorb glucose running in our, and glucose is the sugar that comes from carbohydrates, okay? So we eat carbohydrates, releases sugars in our bloodstream, glucose, and then we need to absorb that glucose. So we have insulin that comes in, binds to the glucose, and then looks where they can deposit this. It gets deposited, for the most part, in our muscle. That's why we need muscle. And for some smaller part, in the liver. Now the liver produces fat. So it gets the glucose and produces fat out of that. So that goes into our fat stores. If our fat stores are maximized, and everyone has different fat stores, and some people are able to get more fat cells, so they have more storage. So it's really storage dependent. So you got this glucose coming in, you got carbohydrates, you're eating carbohydrates, and your body is processing it, so it's dumping it in your muscles. The biggest part's going in your muscles. So your muscles have to be what? Lean. They have to be good. They have to be able to process the glucose, right? Goes into your liver. But at a certain point, you get to your fat threshold, meaning that you don't have any more storage capacity in your body. What happens then? What happens then is that the fat starts accumulating around your organs. It starts pushing out fat in your organs. It starts pushing out fat into your muscles. You get fatty muscle. You get like that steak that's all marbled, right, with the fat inside. Your muscles stop working as efficiently as they can, or as good as they can. You've got muscle disease. You've got a muscle problem now. The fat also stores in the liver. Now you got fatty liver. You know what that does? It comes from alcoholism, but it also comes in children just from eating too much carbs and sugars. Now you've got visceral fat accumulating. Visceral fat is the most dangerous fat. It accumulates around the organs, the big vessels in the body, right? Internally. A lot of times we'll look at someone, especially in Asian cultures, where you see they look good, they're skinny, but they got visceral fat. Internally, they're fat. They're skinny on the outside and fat on the inside. It's called TOFI. We even have a name for it, TOFI. All right? Only on MRI can we see this. This is dangerous fat. This person can look skinny and get a heart attack or get a stroke. Boom, right there. We even have long distance runners that have this. I've talked about a patient of Dr. Romero's who was running, what was he running? 10 miles a day, 50 miles a week, miles, and had visceral fat at a dangerous level. Once they started him on sprinting, right? 30 seconds, 4 sets, 5 sets, twice a week, that visceral fat started reducing. So we're going to talk about all that, how we can do that. Visceral fat is dangerous and you can't always see it. It's the hidden fat. Subcutaneous fat is the fat you can pinch out here. Yeah, that's the storage. It gets the storage going, right? So what happens? Insulin keeps going up. Insulin keeps binding to glucose and trying to store it. But all of a sudden, there's no more storage. And then you start becoming insulin resistant. Okay? It's just not, the system isn't working. The system is overloaded. Okay? And this is due to too much carbohydrate consumption. And what? Not enough storage space. What's the storage space? Muscle mass. So we need hypertrophy, right? Okay. The other key to longevity is strength. Why? Because when we get older, we fall. We don't have the ability to decelerate. We get weak. After the age of 30 to 35, you get sarcopenia. What is sarcopenia? Your body starts losing muscle mass slowly and strength. So that's one we have to fight for to keep. That's going to keep us healthy. That's going to determine how long we live and how good we live. So it's not doing aerobics. It's resistance training, either in your yard or in the gym. This is what the people in the blue zones do. This is what we have to do artificially. And at the basis of everything, at the basis of the, of the longevity 9 is what? Perceived struggle. Okay? So when we look at everything we do, we have to create this perceived adversity. The way we eat, what we do to our brain to keep it healthy, our spirit, and also with movement. We have to introduce perceived adversity. And I explain this. Why? Is because we've been on this planet for 7 to 5 million years. And in those years, 99.9% of the time, we were fight or flight. We were surviving. So our genetic makeup is based on surviving. That's how we thrive, right? So now we have everything to our disposal. We don't have to walk anywhere. We don't have to fight anything. We got food coming to us. We got, lounge chairs. We got TV. We got internet. We got information coming to us. We don't have to move. But our genetic makeup, that's detrimental for it. That is the opposite. So we have to introduce perceived adversity. So strength is huge. Muscle hypertrophy, we talked about it, huge. So we have to look at, okay, what else? Okay, so let's cut to the chase. What's the best protocol for resistance strength? The best overall protocol, minimum 3 times a week. So 3 times a week, you have to do an hour, 50 minutes of resistance training, meaning with weights, weighted training, all right, to build muscle, to keep your muscle, women and men. Now, as I said before, the entry level is super low, 5 to 10 minutes every day. Okay, but now we're talking, let's optimize this. Let's really take advantage of what we know. Let's take advantage and let's make our life way better than it is. Then we go to this, okay? Minimum 4 times a week, we're doing really good, all right? Resistance training. Weights, not cardio and weights, resistance training to build strength, keep strength and hypertrophy. So that's 1. 2, VO2 max. VO2 max is how efficiently our body uses oxygen, how efficiently our muscles work, how efficiently we release, how good are our mitochondria. And mitochondria are basically the production house of ATP. That's our energy, that's our batteries, right? So we need to see, do we have enough mitochondria? Is the quality of mitochondria high? VO2 max is how we measure this. It's basically going on a treadmill or on a bicycle, they put a mask on you and they check what oxygen goes in, what oxygen CO2 comes out, the entry gases, the exit gases, and then determine with algorithms how efficiently your muscles work, how good they work, and what level you are. If you're at a top level, the increase in longevity is phenomenal, 80%. If you're at less than mediocre level or middle level, it's 50% increase. It's amazing. It is amazing. So this is critical. And how do we do this? Simply, we train zone 2 and zone 5. And this is everyone, and guess what? What do most people do in the gym? What are most people doing on the treadmills and on everything when they're running and doing all this stuff? They're doing zone 2, zone 3, maybe zone 4. Not smart. When we look at the research, we know, listen, we want to burn fat. We want our bodies to be in a place where we're burning fat and we're not going into burning what? Glucose, right? We want to have fat stores released, okay? We want to get because if we go into zone 3, 4, and up, or zone 3 and 4, let's say zone 3 and 4, we're going to be burning glucose, dude, and we're not touching our fat stores. We need to we got too much fat. We need to get rid of fat. And those are the last ones that our body will pick up. So we need to focus on that. So the zone 2 focuses on basically using the energy from the fat store. So how do you do zone 2? Zone 2 is this. Zone 2 is basically a cardiac level, exertion level of 60 to 70%. It's a lactate level of 1.2, 1.7, maybe a little less, to 1.9 millimole. So what does that mean, like for you and I? It means that you're on a treadmill doing uphill and it's steady state. Okay, so this protocol for the zone 2, I want you to do 4 times a week, half an hour minimum. That's it. Do it after your workout. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be walking, you're going to be cycling, you're going to be steady state, meaning you cannot go up and down, up and down, up and down. Steady state at a place where you're able to hold the conversation, so you can have meetings, but they're going to know you're exercising. You can talk, no problem. You're not going to be out of breath because then you're in zone 3, 4. So you got to bring it down. You got to be able to feel it, sweat. You feel that you're working, but you're not exhausting. You're not exhausted. You can still hold a conversation. You can talk. You can, you can think. You can do business meetings, whatever. That's the level I want you to keep. 30 minutes, solid, same state. For me on a treadmill, it means I'm at like incline number 3 and speed 6 on the equipment we have here. And I'll do that 30 minutes after my workouts, 4 times a week. Then, so this is really where athletes also train. Athletes do most of their training time at zone 2. They only, a couple times a week, they'll go full throttle, all right? And we'll talk about that because I want you to do twice a week zone 5. And zone 5 is 92% to 100% of your cardiac output. That is all out, okay? And that means I want you to sprint. You can do sprinting uphill, and that is, going for 30-second sprints, all out, resting 3 minutes. 30-second sprints, rest, and then, of course, warming up because you don't want to pull any hamstrings, you don't want to pull any muscles, so you got to warm up, do some active warm-ups, and I have a video on that, and you focus on that twice a week. So when we talk about sprinting or rowing at that level, or any exertion, you can do, you're doing burpees, you can do different things at that level, full body, full blast. Your heart is pounding at the end of those 30 seconds. You can't hold more. You can probably hold 20 seconds. 30 seconds is probably too long. 20 seconds, and then you rest 3 minutes, bring your heart rate all the way down, do it again. So what we're doing here is we're building the mitochondria and the fast twitch muscles, okay? We're looking to preserve the fast twitch muscles, which are critical for when we age. We are increasing our VO2 max, which we know is critical to longevity and health. We are reducing stress. Why? Because when you're doing 92 to 100%, unlike in your zone 2, where you're just able to hold a conversation, think logically, do your business or whatever, in zone 5, your brain basically switches off. It is full bore. There is no thinking. So for those couple of seconds, your mind switches off, if you like it or not. It just goes blank. And that rest is stress reductive. It is like you're going to feel better because all of a sudden, you're basically rebooting and resetting your computer. All the stress you have, all the thoughts you have, everything from the day, from the week, from the year, whatever is going on in your life will, for those seconds, and that's enough to reset. That's enough to give you that feeling. That's enough to boost you. All right? This protocol that we're doing is critical. So I'm talking the strength training, right? Hypertrophy training, and we're looking at 3 days, 4 days a week. What I want you to do, I want you to train your legs, resistance, on 1 day separately. And then you can do your upper body in 2 days. So you'll do push-pull. Let's put it that way. If you're doing the 3 days. If you're doing the 4 days, you can mix it up a little bit more. All right? And I want you to do not more than 21 sets for each muscle a week. And you can talk to your trainer about what that means. And really, the idea is to have a progression. You have to have a progressive overload in your training. You cannot stay the same. You cannot do the same thing. Change your routine, do whatever. You have to have progressive overload in the way you train. Okay? That's just how it works. And there's, the 3 and 4 aerobic stuff, cut that out, please. You're going to spend so much time and you're going to go nowhere. So really think about this. Now, if you're a strength, this is, and also I'll put this, I have this as your true north. So really you have to look at it, okay, let's say I'm a power lifter. I'm going, man, I'm powerlifting. This is not my thing. Well, yeah, it is your thing, because you might want to look at, I might need to up my zone 2 and zone 5 cardio, right? Because I'm not doing that, or I'm doing very little of that. Let me up that. It changes my game because I want to do it also for health. If you're a distance guy, if you're running long distance, you're a cyclist, you're a distance rower, whatever, swimmer, you need to look at this and go, am I neglecting my strength? Do I need to up my strength game here? Do I need to do hypertrophy training? Yes, you do. So this will be your calibration, all right? And I totally know that if you're in a sport and you're like maximizing, and that is your passion, and that is what you live for, mountain biking, whatever, go at it. It's the best thing you can do, but make sure you balance it out with some of the stuff we're talking about here, okay? So make sure you get strength training in there. On the opposite side, if strength is your thing, make sure you got the cardio in there, so you're balancing out, because I want what? I want strength, I want muscle hypertrophy, and I want VO2 max to be the max you can get it to for your longevity, for your well-being, for your health span. And that's what we're talking about. So this is number 1, a deep dive. Stay tuned. Next week, we got number 2 coming. And like I said, subscribe, ring the bell notification, put comments in. Let's grow this channel. This is important stuff we're talking about. And like I always say, you follow me here, you will be the healthiest and the best version of yourself ever. I guarantee it. Take care. See you next week.